This program was first broadcast on Canterbury's access media station, Plains FM, and was made with the assistance of New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to your weekly dose of the Accountology Show. I'm your host and chartered accountant, Nicole Haig, with an insatiable curiosity for uncovering accounting ideas to help businesses grow. I have so many nuggets of gold to share. Are you ready to make your good business great? Let's get stuck right in. Hey, it's your host, Nicole Haig and
Alex Fulton.
And welcome to another exciting episode of the Accountology Show. In today's episode, we're going to talk about getting your business ready for 2025. We're at the end of the 2024 year. Everyone's starting to wind down, and it is the time to start thinking.
And how fast has that year gone?
It's flown by. Absolutely
I feel like
flown.
we just started.
No, we have.
I know.
And
that's crazy.
Why putting something in place in terms of plans, it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day hustle and bustle that I think that sometimes you forget to actually take a breath and plan for what needs to occur.
Yeah, this is always quite a hard one. I know for me, being in my own business, it's sort of something that I know I should schedule in, and I tend to not and just wing it. Is that bad?
No, because I think so many businesses are like that. Like we've discussed before, a lot of business owners are wearing every hat within the business. And there really isn't any time to sit down and actually plan. And I think the only way to do that is to actually block out the time.
Yeah, actually, that's reminded me is I've got a friend who is also kind of mentor / someone to talk to about issues that have come up. And when we're together, we do tend to do this, is we kind of reflect, which I guess we're going to talk about, reflect, and then also to plan. And yeah, I mean, it's something that obviously it's important because we're about to talk about it. But
I think it can be really daunting, because I think when you think
so
plan,
daunting.
You think, oh no, I've got to do like a 30, 50 page business plan. And it's not that at all. We want to.
Do you know what? I've written that down when you were talking about getting business ready for 2025. I've written down, is this a business plan?
Yeah.
Is it?
No. So I think at this time of the year, you can start thinking about what you're wanting to achieve, what your dreams and aspirations are, and what those goals are, and what actions need to be taken.
And I guess refer maybe to your business plan?
Yeah. Well, yes. So again, there's an annual business plan that we advocate, which is like a 2-page document. The first one is the overall view, and you're looking long term to say, where do I want to be in the next 5 years, for instance? Mm-hmm. And then working backwards to understand, well, if I want to be there at 5 years' time, let's break that down, go backwards, break it down into 1 year goals. What do I need to achieve for the next 5 years?
It's like eating. How do you eat an elephant whole? One bite at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that one.
Exactly. So I think that's a scary thing. I think it is that people think it's going to take a lot of time. I need to do all these complicated things. But I think at this time of the year, and like I said, everyone is busy and you are trying to wind down. It is more about even just putting 1 or 2 hours aside just to think, what is it I'm wanting to achieve for last year? Mm-hmm. Reflect, like you just said, on the previous year and how did it go and what could I change?
Yeah.
And then for that next year, what do I need to do? And it only needs to be 1 or 2 pages long, because any more becomes overwhelming.
Yeah, I can see that. And I guess you're going to give us a bit of a how-to, I'm hoping?
Yeah, well, I think, like you just said, there's a distinction here between our business plan and then this plan, which ultimately there are crossovers, because what you're going to think about now will then be able to, it's almost like doing the pre-work to be able to do the business plan in the new year. And I mean, you might be sitting down with your accountant now. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But you could be sitting down with your accountant now and doing your annual business plan and looking at where you want to go and what you want to achieve for the next year. But if you haven't, I think it's a good time to actually sit down and reflect and work out at a higher level, what are some of those goals that you're wanting to achieve and how do you achieve those? And like I said, we need to plan for that. And I think it needs to be written down. I know everyone goes, oh, it's in my head. But to actually cement it and write it down, I think it becomes reality then.
So would that be like strategic plans, like strategic action plans?
Yeah. Yes.
So what, I mean, is that a goal, or is that...
Yeah, it's ultimately what are you wanting to achieve? Action? Yeah, what are you wanting to achieve? So then if you, almost like, what's your dream? And then once dreams become reality by writing them down and then breaking them down into goals, and then those goals become actions.
Okay.
So it's almost, like I said, starting...
Go to the highest goal
and
work your
backwards.
way back. Okay. So that's how you plan for action.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Exactly. And like I said, we've already talked about blocking out time is really
so
important because it doesn't happen otherwise. You get so busy.
So you block out time for yourself, or if you're doing it with a mentor or a business coach or a friend or a relative or whatever it is.
And sometimes you can get distracted at work, so sometimes you might need to remove yourself.
Yeah.
And do it off premises.
That. Yeah. Especially when you work from home.
Exactly.
Yeah, you might need to vacuum.
So, like I said, you need to be sort of looking forward to where you want to go and what you're wanting to achieve, working out that plan and how to get there and breaking it down into the goals and then the actions that need to be taken. But just talking a little bit more on that reflection piece, it's having a look at what did my numbers say for this year? Am I tracking, if you have got a budget, which hopefully you do, how am I tracking the actual performance against the budget? And if you don't worry, just use your actual results and start with that and say, okay, is it realistic that I will achieve the same dollar amount of sales or revenue?
Okay, you know what I'm going to ask you? I'm going to ask you, what tools are you using to do this?
Okay, oh yeah, good point. That's a really good point.
Thanks.
I know. So what I would do is I would go into your accounting package, a Xero, MYB, whatever it might be. So
and get a report?
Prepare.
Okay, prepare.
A profit and loss or a P&L report.
P&L.
Yeah.
Okay,
now,
I know that.
And do it for, you might
so
do
you
it
do it for like a proper year or financial year?
Yeah, you can do it for the financial year to see how you're tracking so far.
Yeah.
So you could do it from the 1st of April until now, but you could also do one for the last financial year, and you may already have those financial statements, hopefully, from your accountant. So you can have a look at how the 2024 year went, then have a look to see how you're tracking now. Is there much difference? If there is, you will know why there's a difference. Is it
yes, you will know
the
why
economy?
from actions that have happened over the year.
Correct. And then have a look at that and say, okay, is that realistic going forward? Am I able to achieve more sales? Or it was a bumper year, there was something exceptional that happened, I'm not going to be able to achieve that target again. So having a look at those and working backwards, then having a look at your expenses and having a look and saying, is there anything in here that I could cut out? Is there anything in here that I might have going forward?
Or you might have had a capital outlay, and then this year coming up, you don't need to do that because you've already
correct. So that'll affect your cash flow, because
as we know from previous podcasts,
because that's on your balance sheet as a fixed asset item. But that you're definitely right in terms of cash flow. That can be significant. It could be, my bank account's really low, but I've got a really good profit. And why was that? Okay, because I invested, I bought a new plant and machinery that was $100,000,
But I won't have to outlay that again this year.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So understanding that and just having a look, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be minute in detail, it's just having a look at an overall picture.
So broad picture.
Yeah, high level, broad picture. Just to say, you may have even had significant changes in your even consultants that you're working with, or your employment situation. Maybe some have left and you're not going to replace.
But again, it's like, it's like X plus Y equals Z.
Correct.
You're going, okay, that's happened. Oh, it's because of that.
Yes.
And now
correct.
You.
Or if you say, we can increase our sales, the next question is, okay, that's fine, but based upon the resourcing that you've got in place now and the cost you've got in place now, is that achievable? Because to increase those sales, do I actually need to employ more people to be able to produce more? So there's a flow-on effect. Or do you have
because I was talking to someone today about she's a woman in business and she provides the service, and she was saying that she's only got so many hours in a day that she can provide that service over a week, over a year. And so when she's full, that's kind of her maximum. Unless, I guess, forward going, you employ someone to help out or you extend yourself that way. But that was quite interesting, I thought.
Yeah, that's really important to consider, because you as a human being have a ceiling of how much you can output.
Of course.
And you get to a certain point where you're just going to plateau. It doesn't matter how much more.
But if that's your goal, that's okay, right?
Absolutely. But still, you can only do a certain amount. Even if you work more hours, there still is going to be a point where you start to plateau, even if you're putting in more hours over and above, because you do start to get worn out, and
of course
your production isn't as good. And
so I guess when you're doing getting your business ready for the next year type plan, then it is looking to say, do I want to grow, and how do I do that, and have I got the cash flow
and the resources
and what will that look like? And it's just taking time out to think about that, think about how it works. Is there any, apart from visiting your local chartered accountant, is there any other resources you can use to help you with this? Or is it just a matter of using what you've got, like you say, the tools, so
your profit and loss.
Yeah.
If you've got a budget from last year, pull that out. And that's not necessary. If you don't have one, don't panic. The profit and loss is the important one, because you can see how you were tracking.
Yeah.
And then if you want to make changes to that, is that doable? Is it achievable? And that's where we use the SMART goals. So SMART, remember we've talked about SMART before, and they are specific, measurable, accountable, timely, and relevant. Because if you put goals in place that are completely unrealistic, you're never going to achieve them. You're going to set yourself up for failure, and you're going to feel like a disappointment to yourself. So, and we don't want that at all.
Absolutely. And, I guess there's a fine line between having ambition and being a silly sausage.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because you're going to burn yourself out.
Yeah.
Burn yourself out.
Don't worry, I've been a silly sausage before.
I think there's been a lot of us who've been silly sausages that are on that hamster wheel and you can't get off. So, and I think, like I said, if you're looking out as far as 5 years, I wouldn't go any further, because let's be realistic. We've had things like earthquakes and the GFC and COVID.
It's too long.
It's too long.
My brain can't compute that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to think about, but I don't think you hang your hat on it. Would that be right?
Correct. Because as we've all experienced, there are just so many things that can change the trajectory of your business. And you need to be able to be dynamic and resilient and be able to pivot. Wasn't that a famous word through COVID?
Yeah, true.
And take your business in a different direction should the need arise. Yeah. So you can't be fixated.
It's just about being flexible, right? Yeah. But I guess if you've got this sort of plan for the year ahead, then you're prepared. You're a good Girl Scout.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Boy Scout.
And if something does happen like that, then you're exactly right. You've already got your plan in place, and it is easier to pivot and move in a different direction because you already knew where you were going anyway. It's kind of like a Pick a Path book. Did you ever read those as a child?
Trixie Bell did.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, you can. It's on Netflix as well. Like
Pick a Path.
Yeah, it's like you can choose where to go.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I did not know.
Oh, I'll tell you more about that later.
So, it's the same thing in business. Nothing stays the same.
And I think you'd be quite naive to think that it would. And that's probably why a lot of us are in our own business, is because we like that. I mean, it can be quite frustrating sometimes, but that's the beauty of it. It's not the same every day. We're not going in, doing the same thing and leaving, going home. I quite like the fact that I had, sort of a drop of clients a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden they've gone up again. And I just took that time to do things that I haven't had time to do. So I
love that because especially in the last couple of years where a lot of businesses have really struggled and the volume has been down substantially. And realistically, there isn't much that you can do about that because it's not like, if you go out and hustle and make phone calls, everyone's in the same boat.
COVID was a really good example of that. And it's that's a sort of freak sort of time frame and moment in time, really, wasn't it? But
it is the time that you can actually do all of that admin, you can do your processes and policies, you can do all of that stuff that you generally put to the bottom of your list because, do you remember when we talked about the quadrants of, the matrix for the quadrants of urgency? And
did we?
Oh, no, that may have been... That may have been without you.
Yeah.
We might have to
You might have been talking to yourself.
Yeah.
But I would quite like to hear the matrix of quadrants.
Yes, I think we might go over that again. Yeah. Of urgency. So there's... the different quadrants and working out where it actually sits in terms of urgency, which, whether it's important or unimportant or urgent or non-urgent.
Yeah, and I guess we naturally do that. But I think what I'm learning from you, Nicole, is that you have terms for things, whereas I've kind of just been...
Winging it.
But
doing the same thing.
Yeah, using my nous or whatever, but it's quite nice to know that there's actually a term for it, and it's good to learn better ways to do things, and like doing something like this, getting ready for the year ahead, I think it's really, really important.
Once you've done all that, so it doesn't need to be, like we said, it doesn't need to be 30, 50 pages long.
Yep.
It only needs to be
pages.
one or two pages tops.
Yeah.
And then, again, that's going to get you ready for when you do the actual annual business plan with your accountant, or whether you do it yourself for the start of the financial year.
Yeah, I do mine with my accountant.
Yeah, fabulous.
He does a bit of growling.
But you've had time to think about it, right? Before you get there.
Yeah, and he will sort of bring up things that I hadn't thought of, and just sort of, because we talk about it every year, he'll go, "Oh, I remember you said that. Has that happened?" And I'll go, "Yeah, it has happened."
And that's the accountability piece, which is great because it's so easy just to go, yeah, I'm going to do that, And then...
Well, when you work for yourself, it's really hard to kind of keep yourself accountable.
Yeah,
so I guess this, like maybe put in a diary appointment for yourself to maybe check where you're going quarterly. I don't know.
That's brilliant. And that's, again, that blocking out. So I use that all the time, that I'll put in my diary, block out time for specific things like that. It's almost like making a meeting with yourself.
Yeah, and you could go, my meetings just to check if I'm on track with getting my business ready for 25 plan.
Yes, exactly, perfect. But there's other things in the business that you probably have not thought about, and you've got some nuggets of gold in there. So that's your database. And how many people forget about their database? So firstly, you've got, even if you use Xero, there's a database within Xero. If you went through that and had a look, there's so many clients in there that you either currently work with that you could make contact with again.
Yeah.
Or even those that maybe you prepared a proposal for or did a quote for years ago or even a few years ago or even this year.
Well, I guess they're all people that you've had some kind of relationship with.
Yeah, so it's not a cold call contact. It is, you could send them an email and just to follow up on where they're at, because don't be afraid. What's the worst they're going to say is no, go away.
Yeah, I've done plenty of cold calls in my time. Yeah.
But it could be that they've forgotten or lost your contact details. It could be that you're not front of mind. So remember being front of mind. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can do that for me. Yeah, okay. And they're just forgotten.
Yeah.
Or it could be their situation has changed.
Or it's been at the bottom of their to-do list and you've just popped it at the top.
Correct. I've done that with quite a few people. Well, I've been at the bottom of people's lists.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it works both ways. Like, because I always remember many, many moons ago when I did do sales, it's that whole 80-20 rule. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, like 20% of your clients give you 80% of your income.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It is. That's exactly right. And I think if you actually did the, if you actually had a look at your database and had a look at, or even your database from what you invoice out, you would prove that to be correct, because you go through and see where are my top 10 clients or customers.
Yeah. What was it called again?
the Pareto theory, P-E-R-E-T-O, I think it is.
Pareto theory.
Yeah, 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
It applies to so many things.
It does, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know where I learned that, but anyway.
So again, you can build a list of clients that you've done work for over the past 2 to 5 years. You can go back and make contact with them, and even those that you've done quotes for that haven't turned into jobs.
How is there a best way to contact them, or would you phone them? Would you write them a note?
I think you could do both. You could initially send an email.
I suppose if you remember how your relationship was with them, and
how best they like to contact.
Yeah.
But even if you send an email, just a personalised or even a handwritten note, we've done, handwritten messages that we've sent out. How many people get a snail mail now? Is your letterbox pretty, apart from the occasional bill?
Real estate drop, yeah.
But maybe, everyone's inbox is so full and there's so much junk in there. Maybe going back to old school and doing a wee card or a wee letter, handwritten note or something.
I must say that when I do get a letter in the mail, it is like, a worry.
Yeah.
Or, there's not many people that send...
No, it's not.
So, but that could be a good worry or a bad worry. But.
So you could do that, and then you could have a look at... reflect upon that list that you've got and then phone them up to follow up and go, hey, I've sent you an email, just checking in to see how things are.
But again,
anything?
You'd do this really if you needed more work or if you're growing your business.
Yes,
or
correct.
If
Obviously, if you are struggling to keep up, then don't.
Yeah, I know that sounds very, given, but I guess, I was thinking of my own situation where... actually I've got enough going, I wouldn't probably need to do this.
Correct. But the only thing is you need to be looking forward as well, because when that comes to an end, and if you haven't done any kind of marketing, because these people that you contact you're not going to convert them straight away. It could be, I've got something coming up. And then you make a diary note and you follow them up in 6 months or 12 months or whatever they say it might be. So it could be it's just, I guess, networking and making some point of contact. And then when you do have something and then your clients that you're currently overwhelmed with at the moment come to an end, you're not sitting there going, twiddling your thumbs going, where's the next one?
But then you can do your jobs that you've been putting off.
That is true. Yeah. But for a steady flow of...
Yeah, I guess it's like anything. It's just balancing it out, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. So this is a good time of year to do it?
Well, I think it's great. Before you go away on holiday.
Before you put up the Christmas tree.
Before you put up your Christmas tree. Have a little think. And like I said, don't make it into a big deal. And it could be just things off the top of your head that you're like, right, I'd like to do this, this and this next year. Maybe you only make 5 things, 3 to 5 tops that you would like to achieve.
I guess it's that whole adage of what you put out there happens.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you've got time to think about it over the Christmas period when you're lying on the beach.
Oh, do you think?
And you can go, that was a good idea. Or I could change that and I could do this. So by the time you come back...
Yeah, you'll be firing on all cylinders.
Ready to go for the start of the financial year in March. And then sort of about February-ish, you could be meeting with your accountant, do your business plan, and you are 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, that's correct. That'll be interesting. We'd like to hear from anyone who has done this or is doing it this year.
Yeah.
That would be really cool, actually.
We'd love to hear from anyone with any of these exciting opportunities and even sort of what some of your goals are. We'd love to hear what some of those are.
Yeah, or if we could help you with anything. I say that in the broader sense, as in we can help. You can probably help Nicole, and I'll just keep asking the questions.
You can keep asking questions.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Great.
So, everyone, go out there, get your plan done. It doesn't need to be anything special or spectacular. Just document it, get it written down.
Yeah.
And
make it simple.
And
go for it.
Block out time and go and do it.
And prepare for 2025.
And have an amazing Christmas.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the Accountology Show. If you have enjoyed today's show, you're in luck because we'll be back next week. You'll find past episodes at plainsfm.org.nz and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to never miss an episode. We would love it if you would leave a 5-star review and tell a friend or business owner who would benefit from hearing our show. We also love hearing from you, so reach out with any comments or a topic you'd like covered, and even suggestions for whom we should get in the studio next for an interview. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and TikTok. Our handle is NH Plus Associates, that's NHPLUS Associates, or email me, nicole@nh-a.co.nz. But most importantly, thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. Until next time, keep building that business into the empire it absolutely deserves to be.